Well, hello and welcome to this latest Digital Underground report brought to you by Mining Magazine and Australia Mining Monthly. My name's Martin Veitch, and it's going to be my pleasure to moderate this session. Today we have expert guests from Emesent, a pioneering data capture robotics organization founded in 2018 with deep expertise in AI, machine learning, and analytics to improve mining efficiency, safety, and of course, all those prized insights. We're joined today by Dr. Farid Kendoul, co-founder and chief technology officer. Hi, Farid.
Hi.
Hi, and Christian Skinner, who's the product director at the company. Gentlemen, both welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
Great. We've got around about 10 minutes, so let's push on. Maybe we could start, I thought, by looking at the very big picture. Emesent, of course, is a company very much at the heart of mining automation and digitalization. What would you say are the big trends happening under that umbrella term, and how rapidly are we seeing those promised improvements to business efficiency, profitability, health and safety, and all of those great desirable KPIs? Gentlemen, either of you want to pick that one up?
Maybe I can start. Yeah, thank you very much for having us, Martin. That's really an interesting question. And to be honest, before starting working at Emesent and working with mining companies, I always thought that mining companies are these old industries that don't adopt technologies and not using like automation, digitalization. After 5 years, working with mining companies and developing technologies for them, yeah, we're really impressed by the sophistication of the systems and the technologies that they use, but also the change and the evolution that's happening in mining. So currently mining is really undergoing like a profound transformation, and it's mainly driven by automation and digitalization. It's really an interesting era, and we are witnessing like convergence of several key trends that are reshaping the landscape. Of course, we can take hours listing all those trends and new technologies, but from what we are seeing, I can probably give like 4 examples. One of them is autonomous systems. Like the adoption of autonomous systems by mining companies is really skyrocketing. And that's not just automating the old mining machines like trucks, boggers, etc., but also the mining companies are one of the big industries that are adopting and using robotics like drones, ground vehicles, and things like that, but also autonomous system in terms of software and data systems. So we are really seeing like transformation in that space. The second one is around data-driven decision making. There is a really growing recognition by mining companies of the power of the data. And you will be amazed how many software and apps mining companies are using these days. So they are using very sophisticated software and data management systems to really infer insights from the huge amount of data that they are collecting from their operations. The second one is around integrated ecosystems, because there are more and more automated systems that are used from different providers, but also a lot of software and apps. It's very important for these systems to work together. I think when they started, most of these systems were like fragmented and working in silos, which kind of minimizing a little bit the value of this. But we are seeing more of APIs, interfaces, OEM and mining companies working all together to make sure that all these systems are talking to each other, because that's really how you can optimize the operation across all the value chain and realize the benefits. And the other one, and I think we hear about this one a lot, is around decarbonization and electrification. So a lot of companies, they have very ambitious targets to achieve like zero emission in 10, 15 years. And they have already started projects to realize that, including like electrifications of their vehicles and operations. And of course, we are starting also to see like the benefits of these technologies at an impressive pace. And here are a few examples like productivity and efficiency. As we know, like the minerals and ore is a finite resource. There are like it's much and much harder like to mine minerals. Like you need to go deeper. They are spread. It's very hard. But the mining companies are still very efficient. That produce more than ever before, and they are profitable, mainly because they are using these new technologies like digitalization, automation, like to optimize their operation. The other one is health and safety. It's very rare now, I'd like to hear about fatal incidents in mining compared to 10, 20 years ago. And this is mainly due to using some of this autonomous system and digitalization technologies. And the fourth point is around probably like the social perception. We used to see mines are these dirty industries that are polluting and destroying the environment. But there is really now, like, because the mining companies are working on this decarbonization, etc., they are seen more like as any other industry, like greener, and they are moving more towards sustainable mines. Yeah, we can, of course, list more things, but I thought these are some of the key things that we are.
Absolutely. No, you've got us off to a great start, Farid. And just to be specific here, this is a series about digital underground. All of this stuff is applying just as much to the underground segment as above ground, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I think generally it's like the same companies that are operating above ground and underground, like they have operations in different regions depending on the ore body, which means they are almost using like the same technologies. But the distinct difference is really how they are applied and value that they offer. Overall, I would say that there are more automation and digitalization above ground than underground. And this is probably due to several factors. One of them is really the environment and the infrastructure. Like underground environments pose distinct challenges in terms of the complexity of the environment, the accessibility to those environments, but also like it's harsh, it's a very harsh environment. The second one is the second one is around the complex geology and the ore body, which means like it's different mining methodologies, different infrastructure, and it needs like different equipment and sometimes like different type of technologies. All of this makes it like very hard and expensive to capture digital data often compared to above ground, which means it's slowing a little bit the digitalization, or at least the technology was not very well adopted to those type of environments. The second one, it's really an important one that's mainly for automation, is around the lack of GPS and navigation maps. Like the first autonomous trucks above ground, I think they were like deployed early 2000. And most of automation and digitalization technologies above ground, they rely like on GPS and navigation maps like Google. Or this infrastructure, as we know, they are not available underground, which means it makes it very hard to deploy autonomous systems underground. So there was a technological gap. And that's, for example, where Emesent is contributing, like trying to develop the GPS and the Google Maps for underground. The third one is around communication and remote operation. Of course, to do remote operation, teleoperation, autonomous operation, you need to have a link between the control station and the vehicles to automate. And also you need those communication networks to move the data that's collected that could be turned into digital models. And above ground, yeah, there are good communication infrastructure. Underground, it's not the case. It's very hard. And again, it's probably in the last couple of years that we are starting to see mines starting like to deploy communication infrastructure on the ground, like 5Gs and others. The fourth one is probably around like above ground. Now, I think we are in the era where we are seeing like a large scale automation, like the mines are trying to automate the automation at a large scale around the value chain. While for underground, I think we are more at the task automation rather than automating the whole operation, which means for underground we are still seeing like interaction of unmanned systems with manual operational autonomous system, and it creates its own challenges where you have like the interaction between the human and the machine. Yeah, probably Christian can add some elements to that, but that's just very high level summary.
No, I think that was great, and you definitely touched on a good point there. I feel like digitization might even be more important underground, because visualizing progress and tracking vehicles, equipment, what things are doing in an open pit. You can go and stand on the crest. You can set up cameras and monitor it from your office. That's so much more difficult underground, which means you have to have other ways of actually visualizing these 3D spaces. Um, and I guess on that note as well, around safety, particularly in geotech, you can use things like radars, which cover kilometers of area, and you're able to monitor in wall movements in incredibly large tracks. And that's not possible really underground. You're kind of limited in the areas where you can deploy these units. They're quite segmented as well. So you have to look to other technologies in order to maintain geotech safety.
Absolutely. Challenges, but opportunities too. Look, one of the biggest changes we've seen in modern digitally enhanced mining has been the ability to kind of see around the corner into elements of what's going on without having to have necessarily a physical human presence. We're all fascinated by digital twin, virtual twin, sensor computing, Internet of Things, and so on. And I know that Emesent, as you mentioned, is a pioneer in using autonomous mapping in underground mining. Tell us a little bit, if you would, about why autonomous mapping is such a hot area.
Yeah, probably I can start and Christian can add to that. I mean, of course, yeah, you cannot optimize and manage what you cannot measure. And for underground operation, like especially for voids and stopes, these are like the voids from where they mine the ore body, and then they leave like a void called a stope. And to manage that, like mining companies they were using like what they call CMS. It's like a scanner on a boom, and they need to send a surveyor and stand like near that very hazardous stope to capture data from one point. And they were getting like kind of incomplete data, but it was very, very important for the safety of the mine, but also for the operations. Like Emesent was really the first company that introduced like autonomous mapping drones to underground mining, mainly to provide like a safe and efficient solution for that use case, like autonomous mapping of stopes. As we mentioned before, this is really a critical step in the underground mining operations. And so of course, like we leveraged the technologies that we developed across probably 10 years to come up really with that solution. It's very, very hard to fly drones autonomously even above ground. Like having drones that can fly safely and autonomously underground where there is dust, wires, dark confined spaces, you lose comms just if you go beyond the corner. Yeah, it was very hard. But by developing that, it allowed really to achieve a lot of benefits. First of all, we get much, much better data compared to the previous system, which means you have more insights, you can make better decisions. Also, the system that we developed, you can send it to inaccessible areas. It can capture data beyond line of sight, beyond communication range, which means like mining companies now are getting data and insight that was not even possible before. And it's really informing, even like to improve some of the mining methodologies. And also because now we are collecting data easily, safely, and autonomously, mining companies are collecting more data and more often. This means like they can again make better decisions, but also they can prevent issues. They can see issues before they happen. So it's improving safety, efficiency, and productivity. And of course, because it's an autonomous system that you can operate from safe distance, you don't need to send people into those hazardous areas. So it's also like improving the safety. And that's for us like the first step. Like we really believe that the mines of the future will be fully autonomous, and we are building like the key blocks to allow that. And in the future, you can imagine like most of these systems will be operated even from from the surface or from the remote center, and all the robots are just living underground and collecting data on demand.
Christian, did you want to come in on that one?
All I was going to add is beyond kind of remote or autonomous vehicles, potentially there is an intermediate step there where you're enabling operators to gain a better understanding of the environment underground by offloading some of this data that the autonomous units work off of. So creating that underground digital twin, whether you're capturing it incidentally from a vehicle or from an autonomous truck or from an LHD, you're able to offload kind of this rich 3D data to, say, mine planning teams who can then make decisions remotely without being kind of exposed to all the hazards that exist underground.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Probably if I may add like a few sentences to that, like underground operation, Jill, I would say it's probably could be summarized into two things. One is to move the ore from underground to the surface, and the other one is like to capture data capture data about the underground assets to really monitor the operation. And for that, yeah, there are survey teams, there are geotech teams, service teams to capture the data. Like big OEMs like Sandvik, Caterpillar, Epiroc, etc., they are really working hard in automating like the movement of the ore. But we found like there was a gap in terms of capturing the data, because at the end, if you want to achieve like zero-injury autonomous mines of the future, all those operations need to be automated. And there was a gap in automating the tasks that are around data collection, and that's where Emesent really is playing a key role, try to automate those type of tasks.
Yeah, so let's wrap up. We've gone over time, in fact, so you have to keep this very briefly. But what about what's coming next? We talk about what's the state of the art today. What's around the corner and what you're cooking up in the labs that's going to make a difference to the next generation?
Farid, maybe I'll let you kick off with something if you like. Otherwise, I can dig quickly into some of the things we're looking at in terms of automation and digitalization. So we already mentioned stope surveying is really our bread and butter, and we've extended our GPS denied autonomy and capture of stopes to a new US manufactured drone in the Astro, which has really tightly integrated comms for full 3D point cloud visualization from kind of hundreds of meters away. This is primarily driven by what we've seen in the market around a bit of an aversion to DJI-made drones in the US and also in governments. I guess the other big use case that we're looking at is around safe and efficient production. And we've integrated recently with LHDs in order to provide production teams themselves with the information that they need to operate more safely and quickly. So at the moment, there's a little bit of a gap there with the production teams. They often lack the insight into the environment. They're constrained by, say, 2D cameras on LHDs, which really doesn't give them that insight into geotech hazards, say remaining volumes, any hang-ups, which can really create a lot of issues for them in terms of downtime and efficient planning as well. And so what we've created is an integration for an LHD, which essentially allows production teams to go and scan those stopes by themselves, 300 meters in range in 3 dimensions in near real time, without the need for a surveyor. And that's all remotely offloaded using the AutoMine network. So it's really pushing the boundaries on that remote operation and removing people from hazards.
And Farid, I'm going to very briefly the last word, if that's okay.
Yeah, our vision is for the entire mine to operate as one integrated autonomous system or as a self-managing entity. And for us at Emesent, we really believe in that vision, and we are committed to pushing the boundaries of innovation to further improve operational efficiency, safety, and sustainability in those underground mines. We want to see those autonomous mines of the future, and we want to be part of that ecosystem.
Yeah, we all want to see that. Farid, Kendoul, and Christian Skinner, I want to thank you for your time today. And thank you to Emesent for contributing to this latest in the series of Digital Underground. We'll see you again very soon next time. This is Martin Veitch for Mining Magazine, Australia Mining Monthly, saying thanks so much and see you soon. Bye-bye.